Like,
Mhm.
it just turns it bad, just so fast. Does
Mm.
that happen for you guys?
Oh, yeah. Yes,
Absolutely.
all the
Yeah.
time.
I think
Flips
it's
me
because
out.
like I think it's because like, we as women, moms especially, I think we're trying so hard to do our best, you know? We're trying so hard at everything. Um, it already sometimes can feel like we're failing before we even receive the criticism or the judgment, and I think that's why it feels like just sometimes, like, it's hard to even manage the criticism, you know, because it's,
Yeah,
like, maybe confirming a fear we already have.
exactly. And I think sometimes criticism, hits our identity, not just the words, not just our decisions, but it hits those places in our hearts, those insecurities that we've carried around, all our life that says, "Hey, you're not good enough. You're
Mhm.
not worthy. You don't deserve this or that." I had someone criticize me one time and man, it hit that insecurity. It hit that sore spot. And I can just remember that inner voice saying, "Ooh, you're not good enough. See, you're just not good enough. You're not that person you thought you were." So I think those critical remarks do
Mhm.
mess with our identity and, the way we think about ourselves.
I think it's especially, like, hits close to home when it's friends and family.
Yeah.
Even when they're trying to, it may not even be, like, what they think is criticism.
Mhm.
It just hits that way,
Mhm.
and it's like, "Don't you see everything I'm doing? Like, how could you criticize me? I'm working so hard, I'm doing so
Right.
much, I'm taking care of all these things. Why are you saying this to me?" So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, it can come from friends and family. I think I've had it come in the form of criticism about my school choices, criticism from church, criticism on social media, even just like random people who like feel really confident in offering you, feedback, which often feels like criticism. And I think, mom, you brought up this idea of like that people I don't think really know, like sometimes how their comments can go to places that are like wounds for us.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And I was just actually recently in a no joke, like, true story, I was in a space where, like, showing up I'm an introvert. Actually, I think I'm more like an amnivert. I should do some more research on that, but, like, usually I say I'm an introvert, but, it's, like, hard for me to show up in some of those spaces, you know? It, like, takes a lot out of me, and I think I've learned over the years, like, so much more confident and able to, like, show up in those spaces and, like, be social and be engaging, but by the time I get in the car, I'm like, "Oh my
Sure.
gosh, like, I'm toast." Like, I should I shouldn't should myself, but I feel sometimes like on the way home, I should be asking my kids all their thoughts and stuff, but usually I'm just like recovering from like that emotional output that I just did. And I was at this event and I received this criticism from somebody who was kind of like masking it with sarcasm, but it
Oh,
felt
yeah.
really critical of, like, kind of putting me down for being a little more quiet or, like, wanting to go ahead and, like, it was 20 minutes after the event, and I was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna head out," and it was kind of just this, like, criticism that was hitting on this piece of me where it's like, "Oh, yeah, I don't measure up socially. I'm not fun. I'm not engaging. I'm not as good of a community member as X, Y, or Z," and I don't think that people, when they say things like that or when they're making jokes or being sarcastic at your expense, I don't think they realize how easily those can go to places of like, "I'm not enough."
Mhm.
For anybody, and it's, like, been really convicting to me as a person to, like, make sure I'm careful with the things I say to people or the labels I give them because I never know, like, how that's gonna land in the hurt places of their heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%, Katie. I think our words do matter.
Your support means so much. Like, comment, share, and subscribe so we can keep growing this community together.